They mocked me at my brother's engagement party, called me a failure, a disappointment, the sibling who never amounted to anything. Then someone asked what I did for work, and when I answered, my brother's fiancée went pale. Her parents stopped mid-sentence. The room went silent, because the company they all worked for, the one paying their salaries, their bonuses, their comfortable lives, I owned it. My name is Alex Carter. And this is the story of how my family underestimated me for years until one engagement party revealed exactly who'd been signing their paychecks. I'm the youngest of two kids. My brother Derek is 32, golden child, corporate climber. Everything our parents wanted in a son. I'm 28, the black sheep, the one who dropped out of business school, the disappointment. Our parents made their preference clear growing up. Derek got praise for grades. I got lectures about applying myself. Derek got a car for college, I got bus fare. Derek's achievements were celebrated, mine were footnotes. By the time I was 22, I'd stopped trying to compete, stopped seeking their approval, started building something they'd never understand. I dropped out of business school junior year, started a tech company with two friends from a coding boot camp. We built software for supply chain management, boring stuff, unglamorous but necessary. My parents were furious, called it a mistake. Said I was throwing my life away. Derek agreed, said I'd regret not finishing school. I didn't care, I was too busy building something real. The company grew slowly at first. A few clients, small contracts, enough to pay rent and ramen. My family thought I was barely surviving. They didn't know we'd landed a major contract with a manufacturing firm. Didn't know our software was saving them millions in efficiency. Didn't know other companies were noticing. By year 3, we had 50 clients. By year 5, 200. Revenue hit 20 million. I hired a real team, moved into an actual office, but I kept quiet about it, didn't post on social media, didn't brag at family dinners, just worked. My family still thought I was struggling, still made comments about when I'd get a real job, still compared me to Derek, who'd climbed to senior manager at a mid-sized supply company. I let them think what they wanted. It was easier than explaining. Last month, Derek got engaged. To Rachel, they'd been dating 2 years. She worked at the same company as him, middle management. Her parents worked there too. Father in operations, mother in HR. It was a whole family affair. Everyone at the same company. Very cozy. Derek called to tell me about the engagement. Big party next Saturday. Everyone's coming. You should be there. Congratulations. Yeah, I'll come. Try to dress nice. Rachel's parents are kind of traditional. First impressions matter. I'll do my best, he hesitated. And Alex, maybe don't mention the whole startup thing. Rachel's family is big on stability, real careers. I don't want them thinking my sibling's unemployed. I'm not unemployed. You know what I mean, just keep it vague. I hung up feeling the old familiar sting. Even at his engagement party, I was an embarrassment to manage. The party was at an upscale restaurant, private room, about 60 people. Derek and Rachel's friends, family, coworkers. I arrived on time, wore a nice suit, brought an expensive bottle of wine as a gift. Mom hugged me at the door. Alex, you made it, and you look presentable. Thanks, Mom. Derek's around here somewhere, mingling. Try to be social, okay? Don't just hide in the corner like usual. I found Derek near the bar. He was with Rachel and an older couple, her parents clearly. Alex, Derek waved me over. Come meet the Hendersons. Rachel's father shook my hand firmly. So you're the younger brother. Derek's told us about you. Has he? Says you're figuring things out, finding your path. The condescension was barely hidden. Rachel's mother smiled tightly. It's never too late to go back to school, finish that degree. I'll keep that in mind. Derek jumped in. Alex is doing freelance work. Tech stuff keeps him busy. Freelance? Mr. Henderson nodded. Well, it's a start. Eventually you'll want something more stable. Benefits, retirement. Derek's got a great setup at Henderson Supply. Maybe he can get you an interview. I looked at Derek. He avoided my eyes. That's generous, I said, but I'm good where I am. Pride's expensive when you're young, Mr. Henderson said. Take it from someone who knows. Stable employment beats chasing dreams. The party continued. I mingled, made small talk, avoided the topic of work when I could, but people kept asking. Derek's friends, Rachel's relatives, everyone wanted to know what I did. I kept it vague. I work in tech, software development. Most accepted that. A few pushed harder. One of Rachel's cousins, a guy about my age who clearly thought very highly of himself, cornered me near the appetizer table. So tech, that's pretty broad. What company? Small startup, you wouldn't know it. Try me, I'm in the industry, sales. It's called Apex Solutions. His face went blank. Wait. Apex Solutions, the supply chain software company? Yeah, you work there. Something like that, he laughed, actual disbelief. No way, I've been trying to get a meeting with someone at Apex for 6 months. Their software is everywhere. Henderson Supply uses them, we all use them, and you're saying you work there? I do. Doing what? It's support. Before I could answer, someone called for a toast. Derek's best man. Everyone gathered with drinks. The toast was nice. Funny stories about Derek. Sweet comments about Rachel. Standard engagement party stuff. Then Mr. Henderson took the microphone. I want to say a few words about my future son-in-law. He talked about Derek's work ethic, his position at Henderson Supply, his bright future. Derek represents everything we value. Hard work, dedication, loyalty to a company that's been good to him. He's exactly the kind of young man I hoped my daughter would find. He paused, looked around the room. His eyes landed on me for a brief, dismissive second. It's important to have stability, to build something real, not chase fantasies or waste time on pipe dreams. Derek understands that, and that's why he's going to be part of this family. The implication was clear. I was the pipe dream chaser, the one without stability. The cautionary tale. People clapped. Derek looked uncomfortable but didn't correct anything. Rachel smiled proudly. I felt something shift inside me, a decision forming. After the toast, Rachel's mother approached me. She'd clearly had a few glasses of wine. You know, Alex, it's not too late for you. You could still go back to school, get a proper degree. Derek could probably help you get entry-level work at Henderson if you're willing to start at the bottom. That's kind of you. It's just, watching you drift like this, it must be hard on your parents, seeing one son so successful and the other still trying to figure things out. I appreciate the concern. You should really consider it. Henderson Supply is a great company. They treat employees well, and Derek could put in a good word. Something in her tone, the assumption that I needed her charity, that I was the family burden, made me smile. Actually, Mrs. Henderson, I should probably mention something. What's that, dear? I don't work at Apex Solutions, I own it. She blinked. I'm sorry? Apex Solutions, the supply chain software company. I'm the founder and CEO. I don't work there, I run it. Her face went through several expressions. Confusion, disbelief, understanding, horror. That's not possible. It is, actually. Started it 6 years ago. We're doing pretty well, about $30 million in revenue last year. But Derek said you were freelancing, that you dropped out. I did drop out, to start the company. The freelancing comment was Derek's way of managing the family narrative. Mrs. Henderson's wine glass was shaking slightly. Henderson Supply uses Apex Solutions. I know, you're one of our biggest clients, have been for 3 years. My husband's salary comes from that contract. Indirectly, yes, your company pays us for software. We provide solutions that save you money. That money keeps your company profitable, which pays salaries, including your husband's and Derek's. The color had drained from her face. Does Derek know? That I own the company? I assumed he'd figured it out. We use my real name. It's not hidden. He never said anything. Probably because admitting his younger sibling runs the company that employs him would complicate his golden child narrative. She looked around frantically, found her husband, whispered urgently to him. I watched Mr. Henderson's face change as she explained. Watched him look at me with new eyes. They approached together. Mr. Henderson looked like he'd been punched. Mr. Carter, I believe we need to have a conversation. About the fact that you own Apex Solutions. The company Henderson Supply has a $3.2 million annual contract with. Oh, that. Yes, we're pleased with that partnership. Why didn't you say something earlier, when I offered to help you get a job? You didn't ask, you assumed, seemed easier to let you. Rachel had noticed the commotion, came over with Derek. What's going on? Mrs. Henderson looked at her daughter. Your future brother-in-law owns Apex Solutions. What? That's impossible. Apex is huge, they're our biggest vendor. Nevertheless, he owns it. Rachel turned to me. Is that true? Yes. Derek's face had gone white. Alex, what the hell? What? You told me not to mention my work, so I didn't. You're the one who called it freelancing. I thought you were doing contract coding, little projects. I didn't know you owned the entire company. You never asked. You assumed I was failing and I didn't correct you. The room had gone quiet. People were staring. Word was spreading fast. The failed sibling owned the company half the room worked for. My mother pushed through the crowd. Alex, what's everyone talking about? Apparently I own Apex Solutions, Mom, the software company. You own it as in it's yours. As in I started it, grew it, and currently serve as CEO. Yes. My father appeared next to her. The company Derek works with, that Apex Solutions? The same. Dad looked at Derek. You knew about this? No. Never told me. I thought he was barely getting by. Because you never asked, I said. You assumed, just like everyone else, I was the dropout, the disappointment. Easier to believe I was failing than successful. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. Mr. Carter, I owe you an apology. I spoke out of turn earlier, made assumptions I shouldn't have. You offered me an entry-level position at a company that pays my company millions of dollars a year. I'd say your assumptions were pretty off base. I had no idea. No one did because no one asked. Everyone was too busy assuming. Rachel looked mortified. I'm so sorry. My parents didn't mean to be condescending. They just didn't know. They were exactly as condescending as they meant to be. They just thought I couldn't do anything about it. Derek grabbed my arm. Can we talk outside? We stepped onto the restaurant's patio. Derek looked furious and humiliated. Why didn't you tell me? When? When you called me a failure at Christmas. When you said I'd regret dropping out. When you told me to keep my work vague at your engagement party because it was embarrassing. I didn't know you'd actually succeeded. Would it have mattered? If I'd been struggling, would you have supported me? Or would you have kept comparing yourself to me and feeling superior? That's not fair. Isn't it? You've spent 6 years watching me build something and you never once asked how it was going. Never showed interest. Never treated it as real, because if my work was legitimate, you couldn't be the only successful sibling anymore. I'm happy you're successful. You're embarrassed. There's a difference. You're embarrassed that your fiancé's parents just found out the person they were condescending to controls their company's biggest vendor contract. Derek ran his hands through his hair. What happens now? What do you mean? With Henderson Supply, with the contract, are you going to retaliate? Punish them for tonight. I stared at him. You think I'd tank a multi-million-dollar contract because your future in-laws were rude to me? I don't know, you're angry. I'm disappointed, but I'm not unprofessional. Henderson Supply is a good client. They pay on time, use our software well, give valuable feedback. Why would I punish them? Because they insulted you, because they offered you a job at your own client's company. That's embarrassing for them, not damaging to me. Derek, I'm successful despite this family, not because of it. I don't need revenge, I just needed you all to stop treating me like a failure. We went back inside. The party had shifted. People were looking at me differently, respectfully, nervously. Mr. Henderson approached with his wife. Both looked deeply uncomfortable. Mr. Carter, I hope tonight's misunderstandings won't affect our business relationship. Henderson Supply values Apex Solutions greatly. Nothing changes professionally. Your contract stands as long as your company meets the terms. Thank you, and again, I apologize for my earlier comments. They were inappropriate. They were honest. You didn't know who I was, now you do. Let's leave it at that. My mother pulled me aside. Alex, why didn't you tell us? We had no idea your company was so successful. You never asked, Mom. You just assumed I was failing. We worried about you. That's different. You compared me to Derek at every opportunity. Told me I was wasting my life. Dad suggested I get a real job last Thanksgiving. You've treated my work like a hobby for 6 years. Because we didn't know. You didn't want to know. It was easier to have the successful son and the disappointing one. Simpler narrative. Dad joined us. Your mother's right. If we'd known, we would have been proud. Would you? Or would you have found something else to criticize? Because that's been the pattern my entire life. They didn't have an answer. Rachel approached hesitantly. Alex, I'm really sorry about tonight. This isn't how I wanted you to meet my parents. It's fine, they didn't know. Can we start over? I feel terrible about all this. Sure, but Rachel, you should know something. Your parents offered me a job at your company because they thought I needed one. They didn't mean harm, they just didn't see me clearly. That's on my family for how they portrayed me, not on yours for believing it. She nodded. Still, it's mortifying. For them maybe, for me it's just confirmation of what I already knew. I don't fit the narrative this family wanted. The party wound down awkwardly. People left early. Derek and Rachel thanked everyone for coming, but the celebration had deflated. As I was leaving, Derek caught me at the door. Are we okay? We're fine professionally. Personally, I need time. I really didn't know, Alex, I swear. You could have. My company isn't secret, it's registered. We have a website. Clients list us publicly. You could have looked. Why didn't you just tell me? Because you never made space for me to succeed. Every conversation was about your job, your achievements, your life. When I mentioned work, you changed the subject. So eventually I stopped trying. I'm sorry. I know, but sorry doesn't fix 6 years of dismissal. I left, drove home, and felt lighter than I had in years. The next week, Mr. Henderson called my office. My assistant transferred him through. Mr. Carter, I wanted to follow up from the engagement party. Is there a problem with your account? No, nothing like that. I wanted to personally apologize again. My wife and I behaved poorly. We made assumptions that were unfair. It's fine, we're good. I also wanted to mention, if you're ever looking to expand your client base, I'd be happy to make introductions. I have contacts in several industries who could benefit from Apex Solutions. That's generous. It's the least I can do. And Mr. Carter, your parents should be very proud. You've built something impressive. Thank you. After we hung up, I sat in my office thinking about that. Your parents should be very proud. Past tense should be, but weren't because they didn't know to be. My assistant knocked. Your mother's online too. I picked up. Hi, Mom. Alex, your father and I would like to take you to dinner, to celebrate. We want to hear about your company, about everything you've built. Dinner would be nice. And Alex, we're proud of you. We should have said that years ago. We're saying it now. It wasn't enough, but it was something. Derek and I are working on our relationship. It's slow, awkward. We're unlearning years of comparison and competition. He admitted he'd always known my company existed but never looked into it because he didn't want to know if I was doing better than him. That's honest, at least. Rachel and I are fine. She's actually great. She asked real questions about my work. Showed genuine interest. She'll be a good sister-in-law. Her parents are overly nice now. Trying to make up for the engagement party, I let them. They're good people who made bad assumptions. My parents are trying. They ask about work. They tell people about my company. They're proud now that success is undeniable. But I can't forget the 6 years when success wasn't obvious and they didn't care. They mocked me at my brother's engagement party, called me a failure in everything but name. Offered me entry-level work at a company that pays mine millions. Then I revealed I own the company they work for, and everything changed. Not because I wanted revenge, but because the truth needed to be told. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Have you ever been underestimated by family? Have you ever revealed success they didn't know about? Because if you have, you know how it feels. The validation. The vindication. The bittersweet knowledge that they only see you now that success is obvious. My family thought I was failing, but I was building something they couldn't see because they never looked. I'm Alex Carter. I own the company my family's company works with, and I did it without their support or approval. That's the real success. Not the revenue or the clients, but knowing I built it anyway.